On the eve of what I believed would be our wedding day, amidst the glittering displays of a high-end department store, I saw Seraphina, my girlfriend, the woman I thought was sweetly simple and needed my care. She wasn't just browsing. She was laughing, throwing handfuls of expensive gifts towards a handsome male model, her generosity reckless and utterly alien. Then, her voice, sharp and utterly devoid of the gentle lilt I knew, cut through the noise. "Oh, that poor fool. Just a bit of fun, really. I'll just bail on the wedding day." A wave of icy nausea washed over me. "Honestly," she continued, a laugh mingling with contempt, "if I hadn't put on the whole simple act, he wouldn't have even dared to approach me. Couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole." For years of unwavering devotion, laid bare as a cruel, elaborate hoax. A profound chill seeped into my bones. I turned and walked away, the vibrant luxury of the mall blurring into an unbearable tableau. I stood there, a ghost in my own life, still dressed in the bright blue uniform of a deliveryman. The bustling crowd flowed around me, their cheerful chatter a distant, meaningless hum. I felt nothing but the cold dampness on my face, unsure if it was sweat or tears. One of her companions sounded hesitant, a note of disapproval in their voice. "Sarah, are you really going to do this? He's genuinely cared for you for 6 years, hasn't he? Can you truly be this heartless?" Seraphina carelessly fiddled with her nails, her tone laced with pure derision. "His genuine care? Please. He just saw my face, thought he'd found some naive girl he could easily get his hands on. A bargain." Her voice dripped with mockery. "Even if I run on the wedding day, that pauper knows I'm from a wealthy family now, doesn't he? He'll cling to me like a leech." She scoffed. "It was just a bet, a game. If I hadn't pretended to be simple, did he seriously think he could ever hope to marry me? Was playing this simpleton fun?" Another woman giggled, covering her mouth. "Fun? Of course it was fun." Seraphina's eyes sparkled with malicious delight. "He's probably still working extra shifts right now, trying to save up enough to buy me a nice dinner." A burst of laughter erupted from the group. I watched the woman in the center of the throng, radiant, captivating, and utterly unrecognizable. I had come here today to give her a surprise. I had just finished my last delivery for the day, finally, scraping together enough money to buy her a small, modest ring with tiny embedded stones. Even though she was the simple girl I had found and taken in, I wanted her to have the things others took for granted. Full of hopeful anticipation, I had arrived at the mall, never imagining I would stumble upon this horrifying scene. The woman I had poured my entire heart and meager resources into loving had been deceiving me all along. I stumbled out of the mall, the bright sunlight outside blindingly harsh, yet my world had just turned a suffocating gray. Back at my cramped rental apartment, Martha, the woman I paid to look after Seraphina, sat on the sofa watching television. She seemed flustered when I walked in. "Liam, you're home so early." I just managed a strained smile, unable to speak. It was suddenly clear. She had known all along that Seraphina wasn't simple. I had hired Martha to care for Seraphina, because I had to work constantly and worried about leaving her alone. Paying Martha ate up most of my meager monthly wage, but Seraphina's safety was my priority. My voice was calm, flat. "Martha, you can go home now. You don't need to come back tomorrow." She froze, then stammered defensively. "Sarah was just painting in the complex garden. I just came back to sit for a bit. I was going to go back to her." "Don't be angry." I rubbed my temples, exhaustion heavy in my voice. "It's fine. Just go. Don't say anything else." Martha looked like she wanted to protest further, but seeing the cold, desolate expression on my face, she swallowed her words, picked up her bag, and left in silence. Less than 40 minutes later, Seraphina returned. She wore the cheap cotton dress I had bought her, the expensive air of the mall gone. A familiar, simple smile was fixed on her face, just like the day I found her. "Sparrow, look, painting. For you." She ran towards me, holding up a piece of paper. Instinctively, I wanted to reach out and hug her, but the memory of her words in the mall stopped me cold. My arms froze midway. She smelled faintly of gardenia, the scent of the cheap bath soap she always used. I looked down at her. Her eyes were wide and clear, innocent. For a terrifying moment, I wondered if the woman in the mall had been a hallucination, a figment of my own tired, stressed mind. I couldn't help but ask myself, was she just that good at faking it? Or was I truly so blind, so stupid, that I hadn't noticed a single crack in her facade for 6 long years? She eagerly unfolded the drawing, presenting it to me like a precious gift. Instead of taking it and examining it carefully, as I always did, I subtly distanced myself. Studying her intently, I had to admit, even in the simplest clothes, even with a smear of dirt on her cheek, Seraphina still possessed an undeniable air of refinement. The first time I saw her was on a rainy night after work. She was soaked, shivering, huddled in a doorway like an abandoned kitten. Her large eyes were clear and bright, yet vacant. Her delicate face was smudged with dirt, but it couldn't hide an almost heartbreaking elegance. Even then, I felt she didn't belong on the streets. I tried to take her to the police station, but she struggled violently the moment we got near, her eyes wide with a raw, helpless terror that mirrored my own as a child when I lost my parents. Against all reason, my heart softened. I took her in. Perhaps, from the very beginning, it had been a mistake. If I hadn't let greed, the desperate wish for connection, for someone to fill the void, cloud my judgment, maybe this charade would never have lasted. I let out a bitter laugh, a self-mocking sound. Seraphina, stop pretending. I know you're not simple. Her smile wavered for a split second, then her head tilted, her eyes filled with a manufactured confusion. Sparrow? Sarah hungry. Did you get the little cake? An overwhelming wave of weariness washed over me. I couldn't keep this performance going. I know you're Miss Seraphina Chun, from the Chun family in the capital. Seraphina froze. The simple smile slowly vanished, her face falling into a comical expression of shock. The drawing slipped from her hand and landed on the floor. Sparrow, what are you saying? Sarah doesn't understand. I walked over, picked up the fallen drawing, and glanced at it. It was a clumsy drawing of a family. The figure of me wore a suit and was grinning foolishly, while she wore a princess dress and nestled beside me. It felt incredibly ironic, a perfect reflection of our relationship, fake and absurd. I threw the drawing back at her feet. You don't understand? What about the things you said in the mall? Did you not understand that either? Seraphina's face instantly paled, a kaleidoscope of shock and horror playing out in her features. I sighed, weary to my soul. Just go? Leave. I'm canceling the wedding. Panic flickered in her eyes. Liam, I didn't want to deceive you, but So what? I cut in, my voice cold, filled with bone-deep exhaustion and disappointment. Did the high society lady want to play a game, and now you consider yourself the winner? She bit her lip, her eyes welling up. Liam, do you think I wanted this? All my life, everyone around me, they only approached me because of my money. I just wanted to test, to find genuine sincerity. You dare talk to me about sincerity? My voice rose, raw with pain. You played with my feelings, treated my devotion like a joke, and now you're here talking about genuine sincerity. Her face hardened, a flash of the mall persona returning. And you, Liam Chinyu? Do you think I like living like that? Do you think I wanted to be that way? Then why did you lie to me? I stood, pointing towards the door. Get out. I don't want to see you anymore. She took a deep breath, her gaze hardening. Fine, I'll go. But Liam, one day, you will regret this. You'll regret how you treated me today. With that, she turned and walked away without looking back. I closed my eyes. My heart felt like it was being torn apart. The pain was unbearable. The dizzying hangover hadn't completely dissipated when I was jolted awake by the grating sounds of furniture being moved. Annoyed, I yanked open the door. Seraphina was standing there, directing movers who were carrying my meager possessions out of my small apartment. What in God's name do you think you're doing? I gritted out, my voice tight with fury. Seraphina turned elegantly, her eyes, once so clear and seemingly innocent, now glinting with disdain. This place is a dump. Since you know the truth now, you might as well move in with me. Her utterly entitled tone made me laugh, a bitter, hollow sound. Seraphina, I'm not going anywhere with you. I don't need to cling to you. She bristled, then controlled herself, adopting a tone of condescending pity. Liam, don't be stubborn. Look at how you're living. What's the point of this? Just as I was about to retort, two burly bodyguards flanked me, grabbing my arms and dragging me towards the door. Let go. I can walk myself. I struggled, but they roughly shoved me into a waiting car. During the ride, Seraphina attempted to talk to me, but I kept my eyes closed, refusing to utter a single word. The car pulled up to a magnificent, gilded villa, and I finally opened my eyes. The luxurious decorations, the expensive furniture. It was a stark contrast to my tiny rental room. As servants bustled about, setting a table with exquisite tableware, I spotted Martha among them. Martha saw me too. Her eyes darted away, and she quickly bent her head, pretending to adjust a tablecloth. I scoffed internally. It seemed Seraphina had made thorough preparations for deceiving me all these years. Hungry? I'll take you to breakfast, Seraphina said smoothly, linking her arm through mine as if nothing had happened. Disgusted, I shook her hand off and walked straight to the dining room. A lavish spread covered the table, a dizzying array of both Eastern and Western dishes. Seraphina picked up a sandwich and offered it to me. Try this. Don't you love sandwiches? I had the kitchen prepare them specially for you. The truth was, I didn't particularly like sandwiches. When I first took Seraphina in, I had just started working, and my meager salary of $2,500 was barely enough to support 2 people. The only sandwiches I could afford were the ones discounted to $1 at the convenience store the night before, 2 a day for myself. Everything else I bought was fresh, varied food for her. When she asked why I only ate sandwiches, I had just casually said I liked them. What is it? Seraphina asked, seeing me staring at the sandwich, lost in thought. Nothing. I took the sandwich, my voice flat. I'll leave after I eat. Liam, how long are you going to stay angry? I'm not angry, I said softly. We were never from the same world. We're just returning to where we belong. Seraphina's face paled, but she quickly regained her composure, albeit with a forced air of magnanimity. I know you're upset right now, but even if you don't measure up to me, for the sake of our years together, I can reluctantly keep you. I looked at her steadily. I don't need you to keep me. I love the simple girl, Seraphina. Not you, Miss Chun, the heiress. My words felt like a sharp knife, plunging deep. Seraphina's face twisted in a mask of shock and hurt. Just then, her phone rang. Seraphina snatched it up like a lifeline, retreating to a corner to answer it, visibly flustered. I couldn't eat. I stood up and left the dining room, intending to go back to my tiny rental room. As dilapidated as it was, it felt infinitely safer than this gilded cage. As I reached the villa's entrance, I ran straight into a group of impeccably dressed young men, laughing and swaggering in. A man with striking gray-streaked hair smirked. Well, isn't this Miss Chin's little plaything? His voice was dripping with contempt. What? Find out the truth and couldn't wait to latch on to the real wealth. The others snickered, their faces alight with cruel amusement. I know, right? I thought he wouldn't find out until the wedding day. Standing up there alone at the altar? That would have been spectacular. Ha ha ha, what a shame. He found out early. How boring. Yes, I suppose I've disappointed you, I said coldly, stepping forward. I did indeed ruin your fun, but I'm not latching on to anyone. Now, if you'd please move. I had no desire to waste another moment with these arrogant bullies. I pushed past the 2 men blocking my path, but they closed ranks, trapping me tighter. The gray-haired man, Julian, smirked, challenging me. What? Planning to throw hands, delivery boy. I tried to push through again, but someone deliberately tripped me. My body lurched forward, uncontrolled. My forehead slammed into the hard stone steps. A blinding pain exploded in my head, and my vision swam. Haha, is that all he's got? Couldn't even take a little shove? Julian roared with laughter, his companions joining in the cruel chorus. Warm liquid streamed down my forehead, blurring my sight. What are you doing? Seraphina rushed forward, her face blanching as she saw the blood on my forehead. Liam, are you okay? I tried to focus on her face, but could only see a vague, swirling shape. She reached out to help me up, but Julian grabbed her arm. Come on, Sarah, don't touch him. He's filthy. You're not actually serious about this lowlife, are you? Playing pretend was one thing. I struggled to get up, the world spinning violently. I had to brace myself with my hands on the ground to keep from collapsing completely. I heard Seraphina's voice, tinged with a desperate panic and uncertainty. Of course not. I don't like him. I just didn't want to owe him anything. Hearing that, the last fragile sliver of hope shattered within me. I raised my head, looking at the woman I had once loved so completely. Her eyes darted away, unable to meet mine. Stumbling to my feet, my vision was a swirling crimson haze. The dizziness made it hard to stand, let alone walk. But I forced myself forward, away from her, away from the pain. Only her words, I just didn't want to owe him anything, echoed relentlessly, a sharp blade twisting in my heart over and over. Liam, Seraphina's voice called out behind me, but I didn't turn back. I walked for a long time, unsure where I was going, until I couldn't stand anymore and collapsed into unconsciousness. When I finally managed to open my eyes, I was in a hospital room. A graceful, elegant woman sat by my bedside, looking at me with concern. "You're awake." "You are." I tried to remember her, but my mind was a blank. "I'm Seraphina's mother," she said softly, her voice tinged with apology. "I heard about what happened between you two. It's my fault for not raising my daughter better, for letting her do such a foolish thing and cause you so much pain." I managed a weak smile. "It's nothing. It's happened. From now on, let's just pretend we don't know each other." "My dear boy, I know you're hurting. Seraphina was wrong to do this to you." Her eyes were moist. She took a check from her bag. "Please, take this. Think of it as compensation for the time you spent caring for her." I glanced at the check. The number written on it was enough to ensure I would never have to worry about money again. But I simply smiled faintly and pushed it back towards her. "No, thank you, Mrs. Chun. That's not what I want." She looked genuinely surprised, seemingly not expecting me to refuse. "Then, what do you want?" My voice was calm but resolute. "I want nothing. Only to never see Seraphina again." She paused, then sighed. "I heard your high school grades were excellent, but you had to drop out and work because you couldn't afford to eat. Is that true?" Her voice softened with genuine sympathy. "Liam, I don't want to see you waste your potential like this." She took my hand, holding it firmly. "How about this? I'll send you abroad to study. All expenses covered." My first instinct was to pull my hand away, but she held it tightly. Her hand was warm and strong, so much like my mother's, who had passed away years ago. Since she died, I had been completely alone, a true orphan. To survive, I had been forced to give up school and enter the working world far too early. "No, Mrs. Chun," I interrupted, shaking my head. "I'm not doing this for money. Please don't." She looked at me with deep compassion. "I want to help you, Liam. Please let me. Consider it me begging you. These 6 years, you took such good care of Seraphina. I am truly grateful." My throat tightened. Tears welled up and spilled over. She pulled me into a gentle embrace. "My poor boy, you've suffered so much." In that moment, the dam of emotions I had held back for 6 years finally broke. Seraphina had delicate skin. Even slightly rough sheets would irritate her. So, all the bedding at home had to be high-quality long-staple cotton. Her intimate wear needed to be pure silk. She was also extremely picky about food. I loved her, and to meet her material needs, a single job wasn't enough given my lack of qualifications. I worked 3 different jobs a day, just to ensure she could have the life she was accustomed to. The chronic malnutrition and intense physical labor had given me severe stomach problems. I often woke up in excruciating pain in the middle of the night, but I never dared tell her. I was afraid she'd worry, and even more afraid she'd be disgusted by my weakness. She gently patted my back, her voice soft but firm. "My dear, go see the world. Don't cling to the past any longer." I looked at her hopeful eyes, remembering my mother's dying wish. "Live well." "Okay," I choked out, agreeing. Just as I was preparing to be discharged from the hospital, Seraphina burst into the room, looking disheveled and panicked. "Liam, what did you say to my mother?" I put down the magazine I was reading and looked at her calmly. "Why won't she let me see you anymore? And she's arranging blind dates for me? Was it you? Did you say something to her?" She advanced on me, her eyes wide with panic. What could I possibly say? I looked at her, my gaze distant. "Haven't we already made things clear between us?" Her eyes instantly turned red. She grabbed my hand tightly. "These past few days, I've been looking for you. I missed you so much." Her tearful, pleading look was exactly like the seemingly helpless simpleton I had felt compelled to protect all those years ago. Yet, her current elaborate clothes and perfect makeup made the act jarringly unconvincing. I looked her directly in the eye and spoke each word distinctly. Were you lying to me from beginning to end?" Her gaze flickered, unable to meet mine. Silence. It was the clearest answer. I smiled, a self-deprecating twist of my lips. "I must be a masochist, needing to hear you admit it yourself." I pulled my hand away. "Please leave. We shouldn't see each other again. I hope your blind dates go well." "No, Liam, don't send me away." Panic seized her. Tears spilled down her face, hot against the back of my hand. Do you want me to marry someone else? Don't you love me anymore?" I pulled my hand free, looking at her distressed face. There was no longer any emotion in my heart for her, only an immense sense of release. "No, I don't love you anymore." My voice was quiet, definitive. "The moment you said you didn't love me, I stopped loving you. That was just. She tried to stammer out an explanation, but I cut her off ruthlessly. "There's no need to explain. I pressed the call button for the nurse, my voice ice cold. Please help me escort her out. I had no desire for her cowardly, conditional love, and I refused to continue clinging to it with such humiliating desperation. As the nurses gently but firmly led her away, she kept looking back at me, her eyes filled with pleading and despair. The room fell silent. My heart finally settled into a profound stillness. I had drawn a definitive line under this twisted relationship. I thought Seraphina, having faced such humiliation from me, would finally disappear from my life. To my surprise, she came to visit me every single day. Liam, I made some chicken soup today. You should taste it. Her face wore a hesitant, almost puppy-like expression of wanting to please. I didn't even lift an eyelid, simply pressed the call button for the nurse. Seraphina panicked, reaching out to grab me. Liam, please don't be like this. I know I was wrong. Just talk to me, okay? I recoiled from her touch. Don't touch me. She froze, standing rooted to the spot, her eyes slowly filling with tears. To be honest, I used to be completely susceptible to this. The moment she cried, my heart would melt, and I'd agree to anything. Now it just felt sickening. Were those tears for me? No, they were for herself. Miss Chun, please leave. The patient needs rest, the nurse said coldly, showing her out. Seraphina bit her lip, looking at me with a wounded expression, but eventually walked away, casting lingering glances back at me. This charade continued for a few days. My initial annoyance faded into numbness. On the day I was discharged, I saw Seraphina arguing with Julian, the gray-haired man from the villa, in the hospital corridor. Julian's tone was dismissive. Sarah, our families are destined for alliances. Why are you refusing me for a lowlife? Her face was set, her voice unusually firm. Don't call him a lowlife. Julian scoffed. Didn't you used to call him a lowlife first? What? Suddenly you don't let anyone else say it. Seraphina's face instantly went white. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. I looked away, a dull ache in my chest. Time to go. Liam. She saw me, her voice filled with sudden panic and pleading. I didn't look back, speeding up my steps. But she was held back by two burly men, the bodyguards from her mother. Liam, stop. I walked away without turning back, letting Seraphina's desperate cries for my name fade behind me. Before I knew it, the day for me to leave the country arrived. The boarding gate was right ahead, but I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I pulled it out. Seraphina's name flashed. On the screen. I ignored it, declined a call, pulled out the SIM card, and threw it into a nearby trash can without a second glance. Goodbye, my ridiculous, wasted 6 years. As the plane took off, I watched the city shrink below, a mix of emotions swirling within me. Perhaps it was the exhaustion of travel, but I fell asleep on the plane. In my dream, we were having our wedding, the one I had saved up for a year, penny by penny. It was modest but warm, and Seraphina wore a white wedding dress, looking like a true princess. With a heart full of joy, I reached out and took her hand. The next second, she yanked her hand away, her eyes filled with disgust and scorn. Liam, why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? You? Marry me? You're not worthy. Laughter erupted around us. I saw Julian with his arm around Seraphina's shoulders, looking smug. Your pathetic salary isn't even enough to polish my shoes. Seraphina snarled. If it wasn't for a bet, a game, do you think I would have stayed with you this long? What a pathetic failure. The jeering laughter grew louder. I clutched my ears in agony, but I couldn't block out the sounds ringing in my head. Sarah, I desperately tried to reach for her, but she recoiled as if I were a plague. Get away. Don't touch me. I watched helplessly as she left with other men, my heart ripped apart. Sir, are you all right? The flight attendant beside me asked with concern. I woke with a jolt, my face cold and wet. I had been crying in my dream. I wiped my face roughly and shook my head. I'm fine, just a bad dream. Thank God, it was just a dream. In England, I was like a dry sponge, eagerly soaking up knowledge. I was determined to make up for the years of prejudice and disadvantage I had suffered because of my lack of education. I studied relentlessly, pushing myself to become better, stronger. In this foreign land, I slowly began to let go of the past. The painful memories gradually faded with time. But this period of peace didn't last long. As usual, I finished classes for the day and dragged my tired body back to my apartment building. As I reached the ground floor, I saw Seraphina. Sparrow, a familiar voice, tinged with surprise and a hint of panic. That nickname. It used to be her unique term of endearment for me. She could never quite pronounce my name properly, So she called me that, stubbornly and affectionately. Now it sounded utterly sarcastic. She walked towards me, tears glistening in her eyes. Are you doing well? I took a step back, my voice cold. Seraphina, can you please stop interfering in my life? Sparrow, don't be like this. Her eyes turned red, looking at me as if she were about to cry. I know I did many wrong things before, and I hurt you, but I truly regret it. I looked at her, my heart still. These past few months since you left, I've thought about you every day. I remember how good you were to me, all the little things we did together. Her voice broke. I thought I could forget you, but I can't. Without you, I feel like a walking corpse. Living has no meaning. It's over, Seraphina. Don't you understand? No, it's not over. I love you. What you call love is nothing but selfish possessiveness, I said, my voice icy and unforgiving. You want what you want, and you have to get it, no matter how it affects anyone else. Just go. I don't love you anymore. You do love me, Liam. I won't let you leave me. Seraphina suddenly became agitated, her eyes wild. She pulled a small fruit knife from her bag and held it against her own pale throat, screaming hysterically, Liam, if you don't take me back right now, I'll die right here in front of you. The sharp blade gleamed coldly, leaving a shallow, shocking red line on her fair skin. Calm down. Put the knife down. I tried to soften my voice, hoping to reason with her. Calm down? How can I calm down? Her emotions intensified. I've begged for so long. My parents finally agreed to let me marry you, and you say you don't love me anymore. I closed my eyes, weary to my core. Seraphina, must you force me to this point? Fine. Go ahead and die. I'll die to atone afterwards. Let's all just die. Seraphina was speechless. The wildness in her eyes slowly faded, replaced by panic and helplessness. I'm exhausted, I said. Seraphina, if you truly love me, then stop tormenting me. Stop disturbing me. I turned and walked away, without a single look back. Seraphina stood below my apartment building for a long time, unmoving. London nights weren't always safe, and I felt a pang of annoyance. I pulled the curtains shut, unwilling to see her pathetic figure anymore. I called her mother. Before long, bodyguards arrived and gently but firmly led her away. Unexpectedly, a week later, Seraphina appeared before me again. She looked terrible, her face ashen, like paper. She had lost a lot of weight, looking as though a strong wind could knock her over. But she didn't try to talk to me or interfere with me like before. She just silently followed me. When I went to class, she sat in the back row. When I went to the library, she sat at a table across from me, occasionally looking up with a complicated gaze that was frankly unsettling. At first, I worried she might snap and do something drastic, but as time passed, she remained silent and withdrawn, like a different person entirely. My classmates started whispering and pointing at me. Liam, who's that girl? Why is she always following you? I gave them a cold glare. None of your business. Stop gossiping. They wisely shut up, seeing my expression. I finally asked Seraphina, what exactly do you want? She lowered her head, her voice very soft, almost a whisper to herself. I just wanted to see if you were doing well. How I'm doing has nothing to do with you, I said, my voice cold and sharp. Her lip trembled, and her eyes immediately reddened. Stop interfering with my life. Seeing you genuinely upsets me. She looked up, her eyes filled with pain and despair. Liam, are you really so cruel? We were together for 6 years. 6 years of being lied to and played with by you? I cut her off. Seraphina's face was pale, but she couldn't say a single word in response. Some things, once missed, are gone forever. No matter how hard you try, you can't go back. She stopped following me after that. To be honest, even if she wanted to continue, knowing her mother's decisive nature, she would have surely been brought back home. After all, the heiress of the Chin family couldn't just be my shadow in London, causing a public spectacle. I felt a wave of relief. Seraphina's presence had been like a heavy stone on my chest, making it hard to breathe. Now, I was finally free of her. I could start a new life. I threw myself into my studies with renewed vigor. 2 years flew by. I was about to graduate when I received a call from Seraphina's mother. Seraphina had developed severe anorexia. Eleanor's voice choked with emotion. Liam, I know she did you wrong in the past, but please, just as an act of pity, come back and see her. Hesitating, I booked a flight back home. To be honest, I had no feelings left for Seraphina, not even hate. But I couldn't deny that hearing the news, my heart had clenched. Seraphina lay in the hospital bed, skeletal and frail, looking as if a gust of wind could carry her away. I barely recognized her. She struggled to open her eyes. Seeing me, she managed a weak smile. You came. I nodded, unsure what to say. Mom said you would come today. I wanted to put on some makeup. I must look so ugly now. She spoke with effort, pausing between each word as if it cost her everything. How? How did you get anorexia? Seraphina smiled bitterly. After you left, I just couldn't eat. I regret it so much. I lied to you, and then I was too afraid to tell you the truth. I fell in love with you, but I was scared to admit it. I just kept making mistakes. She said this, then suddenly began to cough violently, as if her lungs would tear. I fumbled to pour her some water, helping her sit up. Liam. She reached out and took my hand, her eyes filled with a desperate plea. I know I did a lot of wrong things. I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? I looked at her. Her eyes were large and bright, like stars in the night sky, but also filled with a profound despair, as if she was waiting for final judgment. Looking at Seraphina, I couldn't speak. 6 years of my sincere, unconditional devotion. Her simple regret was not enough to erase the depth of her deception. You don't need to say anything else. It's in the past, I said, my face devoid of emotion. She froze, the light in her eyes dimming instantly. You won't forgive me? Do you hate me? My voice was flat. No, I don't hate you. I just don't have any feelings for you anymore, Seraphina. Let go of the past. Let yourself go. What about you? She asked with difficulty, her voice hoarse. Have you let go of the past? Just as I was about to answer, the hospital room door was pushed open. My girlfriend walked in, holding a bouquet of lilies. Hello, Miss Chun, she said warmly, walking towards the bed. I'm Liam's girlfriend, Clara. She handed the lilies to Seraphina. These are for you. I hope you get well soon. I stood up to meet Clara, naturally wrapping my arm around her waist. What took you so long buying flowers? Clara pouted playfully. It was only a little while. I was just overwhelmed by choices. I wanted to pick the most beautiful bouquet for her. I chuckled, playfully tapping her nose. Such a perfectionist. Clara laughed, then turned to look at Seraphina. She noticed Seraphina's face was even paler, her eyes red and swollen, as if she had been crying for a long time and was about to cry again. Miss Chen, are you okay? Clara asked with concern. Seraphina forced a smile. I'm fine, just a bit uncomfortable with my eyes. Thank you for visiting me. Good, I said lightly. For your mother's sake, you should focus on getting better. All right, we should head back now. With that, I didn't look at her again, leading Clara out of the room with my arms still around her. Stepping out of the hospital and breathing the fresh air, I felt a heaviness in my chest. Clara sensed my mood, gently squeezed my hand, and asked with concern, Liam, what's wrong? Are you feeling sad seeing Miss Chun like that? I shook my head, forcing a smile. No, it's nothing. Just a bit reflective, I suppose. After all, we were. Okay, it's all in the past. Don't dwell on it, Clara interrupted gently. She was always so understanding, never putting pressure on me. I know a new restaurant that just opened. It has great reviews. Shall we try it? I wouldn't refuse her kindness. I let her lead me towards the parking lot. On the way, Clara excitedly chatted about our upcoming wedding. From the venue decoration to the guest list, every detail she had carefully considered, striving for perfection. Listening to her enthusiastic descriptions, I could almost see us standing before the officiant in our wedding attire, exchanging rings, promising forever. Happiness, a feeling I had never known so purely, flowed through me like a warm current. Let the past stay in the past. What I had now was genuine happiness, Clara's unconditional love. I squeezed Clara's hand, feeling the warmth of her palm, my heart filled with gratitude. What is it? Clara looked at me with curiosity. Nothing. I paused, then looked into her eyes seriously. It's just, finding you was the best thing that ever happened. Clara's cheeks flushed. She playfully rolled her eyes at me. Mushy. Come on, let's get going. I'm starving. Smiling, I started the car and drove away from the hospital, towards our hopeful future. On the wedding day, I stood tall and confident in my suit. Liam, look. It's Mrs. Chun and Seraphina. Clara gently tugged at my sleeve and whispered. I followed her gaze. Eleanor, Seraphina's mother, was slowly walking towards us, supporting a frail-looking Seraphina. Seraphina wore light makeup today, and her complexion looked better, but her eyes were still red and swollen, as if she had cried for a long time. Liam, why don't you go greet Mrs. Chun and Seraphina? I'll check on things over there, Clara said thoughtfully, gently nudging me towards them. Mrs. Chun, Sarah, you came. Eleanor smiled and nodded, though a hint of unspoken sadness lingered in her eyes. Seraphina kept her head down, only extending a red envelope towards me. This is for you, a small gift. I wish you both 100 years of happiness and growing old together. I accepted the envelope calmly, a genuine smile on my face. Thank you. We will. Seraphina looked up, her eyes meeting mine. They instantly filled with tears, but she quickly turned her head away, hurrying to say to her mother, Mom, I'm not feeling very well. Can we sit down over there? Eleanor looked at her daughter with concern, then back at me, sighing with a mixture of unspoken words and resignation. Finally, Seraphina pulled her away. Their presence didn't dampen my mood. If anything, it made me cherish the hard-won happiness I had found even more. The wedding ceremony proceeded smoothly under the officiant's guidance. I looked at the beautiful bride before me, my heart overflowing with emotion and joy. I do, I said, gazing deeply into Clara's eyes, speaking the words with absolute certainty. The moment the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, I pulled Clara into my arms, overwhelmed with elation. I whispered in her ear, Clara, I love you. Tears streamed down Clara's face, and she hugged me back tightly.